So, welcome back to the second video in this series. In the last video, we looked into the adapter pattern. So we had a client, we had an interface that the client was using, and then we had another system with a concrete class, and we called it alien because it's alien to this system over here. So let's try with a real life example. So let's say that we actually have something like our own company. So let's call this own rental. So this is our own rental company, and we rent out cars. And in our car business, we have some kind of GUI here that the user interacts with, and it's just one class. And then this GUI actually uses an interface for creating all of the different cars in the system, or reading them, or whatever. It is used by this kind of GUI thing here. Could be a package as well. Let's just say it's a package. So this is a GUI package. So this uses the interface, and this would actually be called a rend item. So we'll call the interface rend item, like this. So now we have rend item, and in our company we can actually rent different things. We can rent something like, we can rent a car, we can rent a motorcycle, and we can also rent a truck. This is actually what people can rent here. That's really nice. Really nice company we have here. And we do all of this stuff in order to earn some money. So one of the important things that we need to know here is need to know, so if we look at the interface here, we need to know something about the price here, and we might also want to have other information like mileage or something like that. So we have the price and we have the mileage. So the price is different. So based on whether it's a car or a motorcycle or a truck, we would actually also have something called a calculated price. Calculated price. Okay, so these are the different things, and we have methods for those. So the calculated price part is the one that's different down here. So these will all have calculated price, etc., because that's going to be part of the interface. Okay. So this was our company. So our neighbor company is renting out something else. They are actually, so this is called nRental. And nRental is renting out something really neat. It's actually also, it has some kind of system here, and this system also uses a class, and they just have an alien class like this one over here that's called a race car, because they actually rent out race cars. It's so cool. So I also want to rent out race cars. So I go talk to my neighbor and I say, hey neighbor, can I rent out these race cars? He says, sure, you can, at the same price as everyone else. I say, okay, maybe I can get a small discount if I use them, I advertise them in my company, and then you also earn money. Oh, that's a good idea, he says. So somehow I have to incorporate this into my system, and because my user interface uses rend item, I need this to use rend item as well. So somehow, using magic and other stuff, I combine rend item and race car here into my system. The problem is, like the alien over here, I can't actually change this because this is his implementation. And he also has something called price. He also has something called mileage. He also has something called calculated price. He also have a lot of different things like he has motor size, and he has something like make, and he has model as well. I'm not going too deep into this. We're going to implement it in a second. So this is it. So in order for us to actually make this race car part of our system, and it might come to us like a JSON file, XML file, normal text file, anywhere, this will come into our system like a race car too. So there will be some magic here, and then we will have race car. Exactly the same race car as the one here. So what we need to do to couple these two together is, of course, we need the adapter here. But the first thing that I'm going to do in this here is, in order to, before I show you the adapter, is we're going to implement all of this stuff. So let's just start out by implementing our own rental here, and then go for the neighbor afterwards. So let's go for NetBeans and then create a new project and call this rental. Okay, so now I have my rental here. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new package, and we're going to call it B for business entity, because this is kind of like a business entity, right? Oh, this is business entity like. So this is what we're going to implement. So we had price, mileage, and calculate price. Okay. So inside the business entity here, we will put a class, and we'll have a car. We will have a truck, and we will also create a motor cycle, if I can spell it. And then we'll also create something really nice here. We'll create another class that we call rent item. And the rent item was going to be our interface, so we're going to declare that class to be abstract. And if we looked into it, we could see that we should actually have something called price, mileage, calculated price. So let's look into that. So if I write here first, private double price, private double mileage, and that is in something like how many kilometers that we can drive per liter of gasoline or something like that. And then the last one, calculated price, that is actually something that is calculated. So I use Alt Insert, or on Mac it's Control I, to actually do getters and setters for these. Okay, get price, set price, mileage, etc. So next thing I'm going to do is, I wanted to have the calculated price, so I'm going to create that as well. So I'm going to say public double calculated price, and the price, I want that to be calculated based on type of car, so type of item. So if it's a motorcycle, it should be a bit more expensive. If it's a car, it should be less expensive. And trucks, we have problems renting those out, so they will be least expensive. But in order to do that, I can't actually set the calculated price in here, because I would then need to check, is it a motorcycle, is it a car? That is kind of stupid. So I'm going to make this abstract, and this will actually force all subclasses to use that. So the car should say extends rent item, and we do that also for the motorcycle, and we do that also for the truck. And also, I think it's easiest if, when we create a new rent item, we use a constructor as well. So I'll just control space, create a constructor on the super here. And this will also force us to call this constructor in the constructor of all subclasses. So for example, if we go to the truck here, we have to implement this abstract method, but we also need to implement a constructor, and this would do fine. So the calculated price, so for the truck we would just say return price, which is actually not available because it was private. Price has private access, so I'm going to say get price, and then we're going to multiply that for trucks by 0.8 because it's really hard to rent out the trucks. And this is going to be the same thing for the motorcycle, except it's motorcycle instead of truck. And the calculated price, motorcycles are really easy to rent out, so I think I'll just add 40% to the calculated price. And then the car, well, let's just copy that from the motorcycle. For the car, it's the same thing, except the calculated price here is just 1.0, like this. So we could, of course, leave that out. I'll just leave it there. So that's it. So that is the first part. We did our own rental system down here. So for the next one, let's do the neighbor's rental. So we have, let's say that he has this in his system, and now we've somehow magically put it into our own system. So let's create something here, like a new package, and then call it alien system, because that's from his system. And then I'll create a new class, and we will call this class race car. Okay, so now we have the race car class, and this race car class is something that we shouldn't edit. So it had also private double price, and maybe in here it's called pricing or something like that. Private double I can't actually read motor size private string make private string model, etc. So, and then we have getters and setters for this. So let's just create them. Control insert or Control I on the Mac, and we put getters and setters for everything. And also I want a constructor taking everything, so I use Control space and generate this constructor. So this is what the race car looks like. So let's leave it there. So it's quite different than the other one. If I say race car extends, which I can't do because it's actually something coming from somewhere else, rend item, it won't work, and that is because it actually needs the calculate price thing. Of course we need to import it, but it doesn't have the calculate price, and we can't change this, so it won't work. So this is not an option for us. We are locked into using this, and if we change the names in here, we'll break something else in some other system. So what to do then? So what we will do is we will use an adapter for this. So inside our alien system part here, we'll create an adapter. I think outside we'll go for adapt, an adapt package, and we're going to create an adapter in here. So this is for the last part of the video. So in the last part of the video I will show you how to use the adapter for actually putting things together. Okay, so that was it for this video. So now we covered this part here, we covered this part over here, and now we just need to put them together.